All right, welcome. If you are here because you want to pass the SIE, guys, you are in the right place, right? So, we are gonna just kind of get into it. Thank you for clicking on my video to watch it, right? So if stocks and securities sound confusing, you are exactly where you need to be, guys. Today, I'm breaking down SIE Lesson 1 in ways so simple that anyone can understand this, even if you've never, you've studied finance before, just you're clueless about this kind of stuff. It's going to be easy, right? By the end of this lesson, guys, you're going to understand what a security is, how stocks work, what dividends are, and the difference between common and preferred stocks. All these concepts that I am going to be talking about, they're actually on the SIE exam. So if you're taking it, you should 100% pass, right? So if you're watching live, and the chat is enabled, guys, please say live. And if you're watching the replay, type replay so I know you were here, right? So let's get this going. All right, so lesson 1 overview, right? So lesson 1, guys, it's gonna cover the foundation of the entire SIE exam. So if you don't have a notebook, grab a notebook, right? This is going to help you pass. If you understand this lesson, everything else becomes a lot easier. So today our goal is we're going to cover what a security is, the Howey test, common stock types of companies, dividends and stockholder rights, and preferred stock. So let's get into it, guys. So lesson 1, right? Lesson 1.1. What is a security? Let's start simple, guys. A security is something you can buy, sell, or give away that represents either money or ownership. That's a security. It's either money or you have ownership, right? If you don't have those two, it is not a security. You usually can't touch it. It's intangible. It lives on paper or on a computer, right? So if you can touch it, it's not a security. If you can't touch it, it is a security, right? So I'm going to give you a simple example, a kindergarten example. So imagine a candy store. If you buy a ticket that says you own part of the candy store, that ticket is a security, right? So it just says, hey, you own part of this, right? What's not a security? Things you can touch. So if you can touch it, it is not a security. What are those? You got gold, you got wheat, oranges, or cows. These are considered commodities, not securities. So if you're live right now, guys, I want you to type in the chat, type security or not a security. Is gold a security? Right? If you're, on the chat commenting and you're hearing this question, type is gold a security or is it considered a commodity? Awesome. So the correct answer is it's a commodity. It is not a security. All right. So now we're gonna go into what we call the Howey test, right? SEC versus Howey. So in 1946, a company sold people pieces of an orange business. People didn't own the oranges, they owned the business. The court created a test called the Howey test, right? So what the Howey test is, it'll determine if something is considered a security, right? If it is considered a security, all four of these requirements must be met. The very first one is you invest money, right? The second, so stocks, right? Number 2, in a group or business. Number 3, expect to make money. So you got to make money from this. Whatever it is, it has to bring some income in for you, right? Number 4, someone else does the work. So that means you don't have to work it, someone else is working it for you. So even if one is missing, it's not a security, right? So we're going to go into an easy example. So if I give money to someone to run a lemonade stand for me and I expect profit, that's a security, right? So if I'm getting a return and they're running it for me, it's considered a security because I'm making a profit, right? Examples of securities, right? Examples of securities, they include stocks, they include bonds, mutual funds, options, variable annuities, right? Cash, life insurance. your house and commodities are not securities, right? So if you could touch it, can you touch money? If I gave you $100, can you touch it? Yep, you can touch cash, right? Life insurance, right? You get paper policy, a house, you can touch it. And commodities, these are not securities. Crypto is tricky for the SIE exam. Crypto is currently treated like a commodity, so it's not a security, right? But most likely you're not going to see anything about crypto on the exam. So there's two types of securities, right? Companies raise money in two specific ways. Either they're raising stocks or they're raising bonds. When it comes to stocks, it means you own part of the company, right? So you buy stocks. It could be for Apple, it could be for Tesla. It means now you have ownership rights of Tesla or Apple, right? Bonds, right? You loan money to the company, right? So again, that's again it's a type of security, right? Stocks is ownership, bonds is debt. All right, if you got some questions, I'll do another follow-up video. Just post those questions. We're gonna go into lesson 1.2. We are going to talk about common stocks, right? So common stock means you have ownership. If you own common stock, you own part of the company. You can vote for the board of directors. You may receive dividends. Example, if a company has 100 shares and you own 10, you own 10% of that company, right? So we're going to talk about classes of common stocks, right? So there are authorized stocks, that's one class. There's issued stocks, there's outstanding stocks, there's treasury stocks. So four classes of common stock. So what an authorized stock is, it's when max shares are allowed. What an issued stock is, it's when shares are sold. What an outstanding stock is, it's where shares people own, right? And treasury stock is shares the company brought back. So treasury stock, guys, on the exam, treasury stock has no voting rights and it has no dividends. So keep that in mind for the exam, right? So we're gonna go into lesson 1.3. So let's talk about types of companies, right? Company size is called market capitalization. So that's how big the company is, right? Big companies are considered less risky, while small companies are more risky, right? So you're looking at large cap, mid cap, small cap, penny stocks under $5, very risky. So I'm actually going to do another short video really breaking down market capitalization for you guys, how it works, right? And then we got the penny stock rules. Penny stocks are considered risky. So there are rules when it comes to purchasing penny stocks, right? You must tell the client it's a solicitation, must check suitability, and you must give disclosures. These rules protect investors. So you cannot purchase penny stock. You can't do anything with penny stock without doing these three things. Again, that's you must tell the client it's a solicitation, right? You must check suitability, and you must give disclosures. So lesson 1.4, we're going to talk about dividends, right? So we're almost there. We're coming to an end soon, right? So dividends are profits shared with owners. Dividends can be either cash, it could be stock or product, right? So dividends, this is pretty much where you're getting money, right? The company's doing well and you're getting money, right? You could get money in the form of cash, you could get it in the form of stock or product, right? Which is, again, like I said, where this doesn't really happen. Either companies, they're going to give you some of the stocks or you get money, but what's most common is stocks, right? Stock dividend example, 200 shares times 20% equals 40 new shares. So the total value stays the same, right? But you get 40 shares. So we're going to go into a little test secret for being able to identify what dividends are on the exam. So DERP, right? Write that down. DERP is going to help you identify the order of dividends, right? So D stands for declaration. That's the first part that takes part in the dividend dates. Then you have ex-dividend date, then you have record date and payable date. On the ex-dividend date, new buyers do not get the dividend. And then we're going to move on to lesson 1.5, benefits and risk, right? What are benefits of purchasing stock, right? Benefits are growth, income, voting ability, limited liability. Some risks. There's market risk, there's business risk, there's no dividends, pay last if company closes. So this is actually for DERP, right? So we're going to go into lessons 1.6, preferred stock, right? So preferred stock is like a mix of stock and a bond. Preferred stock gets paid before common, has fixed dividends, usually no voting rights. A dividend example is 5% of $100 is $5 per year, right? So let's talk about some types of preferred stocks. So these all fall under the category of preferred stock. You have cumulative, you have convertible, participating, callable, adjustable rate. So if you understand this lesson, guys, you've built the foundation to pass the SIE exam. In lesson 2, I'm going to be covering bonds and debt securities. I'll also, throughout the week, I'll be posting more videos that's going to go in detail about some of the things that I talked about in this video, right? And, if you're ready for lesson 2, I want you to type ready in the chat if you're ready for lesson 2. Don't forget, guys, you need to like, subscribe, and save this playlist because I'm going to keep posting more on here. I'm working on daily. If I don't do it daily, forgive me, guys, but I'm going to get you through. You're going to pass this exam, right? So this is SIE exam made easy. And that's what I got for you for today.